Hello, kia ora, namaste, malo elele, talo falava, bula vanaka, and welcome to the inaugural Heritage Hockey Tournament coming to you live from Papatoetoe in Auckland. My name is Brad Pittman and I will be here to take you through all the action from the second game of the day, which sees New Zealand Pacifica women taking on the New Zealand Indian women. Both teams had draws yesterday and lost their penalty shootout, so we'll be hoping for their first win to keep their finals hopes alive for Monday. Now, I'm joined on the call today by Suresh Wallab, the president of the New Zealand Indian Sports Association. Suresh, just quickly talk to us about your role in the New Zealand Indian Sports Association and what it means to provide these opportunities to our players.
Good afternoon, Brad. Thank you for that. Yes, we're run by an association, NZISA for short. We have 8 clubs throughout New Zealand. So those start from Auckland, North Harbour, then we've got Pukekohe, Hamilton, Rotorua, which is Bay of Plenty obviously, Central Districts, which is your Manawatu area, Wellington and Christchurch. And throughout those areas we have our own associations within those groups, and NZISA make up the governing body basically for those areas.
Fantastic. So awesome to see players from across all of the regions out here today in this tournament as we have a look at the New Zealand Indian women's side. Just a couple of players to mention. Kasona Thapachetri, who's come up from Bay of Plenty. She is in goal and was fantastic yesterday, keeping her side in the match for the first half that she did play. And she is a young goalkeeper, so has a lot of years left in this women's side. The other one to look at is Jana Suka, who does play her club hockey through Eden Roskill and will be influential in what she does with her team around the park. Now, the New Zealand Pacifica women's side, they are led by Lulu Tuilatolava, and I was lucky enough to have Lulu's father, Will, on the call yesterday, who spoke about how important those leadership roles are within the Pacifica community. Her, along with Carissa Markia and Kayla and Tori Vau at the back, will really hope to lock down the defensive unit for the Pacifica women's team in this match. Now, as I said, both teams did draw their matches in regulation time and come up short in penalty shootouts yesterday, so both teams will be looking to an improved performance, and I think, as I did see both teams yesterday, certainly got better as the game went on. They're probably slow starters and disappointing for both of their coaches at the way they did start, but they've had a game together now. They'll be looking for their first win, and I expect to see some really enterprising play from both sides.
Yeah, I think once the teams get one game under their belt, I think it just changes a lot of things throughout a team, doesn't it? Because a lot of these players were the first time they've come together over the weekend. We don't have training camps much anymore, and obviously it's always hard work as a coach and as a player to get your team gelling straight away. Yeah,
absolutely. As we see a nice little bit of play coming forward here from the Pacifica women's side, they will earn themselves an attacking long corner. We'll see Lulu Tuilatolava on the ball immediately, looking to give her side an attacking opportunity. She just surveys the edge of the circle there, unable to get through the final tackle on the edge of the circle, but they will keep possession through Tori Vau. Now, Suresh, it's awesome to see such a young Indian women's side out here for the tournament, and it's something that's been a spectacle of both of your men's and women's sides, is some of the younger players that you've got on display in the sides. How important is the leadership of some of those older and more experienced players going to be for those young players that are here today?
Well, I think in any team, Brad, it's once we have those leaders and once they put their hands up to play, we get a following of younger players that come through, because you want to be playing next to them. So as they're on attack, Brad, I'll let you take over.
Yep, we just unable to get the penalty corner that the Pacifica team would have been searching for. The Indian side able to defend their circle, and will look to outlet through Michaela Wepper at the back there. Pacifica team putting a lot of pressure on there through Tonya Botherway, who was fantastic yesterday in creating opportunities for them going forward, and they do win the free hit just outside the circle as they get the circle entry. Nice little bit of tidy up defence there around the circle edge for the New Zealand Indian women's side, and they do win a free hit coming out of their own end.
Yeah, there's one of our newer players into the squad today, Divyani Soma, who's been playing reserve grade in Auckland here, so she's stepped up today, which is great.
Yeah, so you talked about having a couple of players missing today and influential players in that, Suresh.
Yes, yeah, the Alicia and Shredder Nana unfortunately had prior engagements for today. But, hey, this will surely try and, cement the younger players and give them something to aspire to, because they need to, like as we say, they need to step up and let's show a bit of courage.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, disappointing to not have Alicia and Sharina in the side today, but it just gives an opportunity to someone else to, get a run and have a game at this level. So, it grows the sport, in the Indian community when you have those opportunities to present to young players like Devyani.
Yes, and we're quite lucky with a few other. We've got some other senior players, obviously Manisha and Trishna Abernathy, who's been around for quite a long time in the senior scene.
Yes.
Played in Auckland and obviously now playing back in counties Manukau for Pukekohe Indians. So that's Trishna running down towards the tackle now. And we've also got obviously Shamina Leatham and Manisha Jerem, who've been playing their hockey up here for quite some time.
Yeah, Manisha, of course, the sister of Kelly and Jerem.
Correct.
Both players captaining their respective Indian sides at this tournament this weekend, and Kellyan's had a great start to the tournament in his team scoring goals and getting wins. So, Manisha will also hope to have the same influence on her side. A very talented player, a very talented family. So awesome to see her out here leading the Indian side.
Yes. Yeah, their dad was also a representative of New Zealand Indians, Mohan Jerem.
Mm-hmm.
So he was one of the legends of our sport, and also down in Pukekohe. So he was a very good hockey player back in his day as well.
I noticed certainly in the men's side a strong representation from that Pukekohe Indians, sports association, sports club there. Do we have a similar representation in the women's side?
Yes, there are quite a few girls that do play for Pukekohe in the QBT fixtures. Obviously Trishna, we've got Anjali who plays for Pukekohe, Manisha, Shamina.
Yep.
So there are quite a few that do represent Pukekohe, but that's across the board, and it's one of those things in tournaments like this we have to go where the player bases are.
Yeah, as we see Misha Tately here, who was impressive yesterday. She's one of the more experienced on the national scene here, where she's played some National Hockey League, and awesome to see her out here playing for the New Zealand Indian women's side. That's number 4, is Misha Tately, as they do turn the ball over, and Kayla Vale just has a look at what's happening in front of her for the Pacifica women's side. She does have Lulu Tuilutulava in the midfield there in front of her, and it will be played out to Tori. Both teams kind of playing as you do for the first 5 minutes between the 25-yard lines, not really creating a genuine opportunity yet, as we do see Tonya Botherway breaking to the circle for the New Zealand Pacifica side, and the goal is finished well in front of cage by Hannah Rosalia there, who finished off, like I said, as we see the replay, well outletted from the Pacific women's side. Down into the attacking corner, and Tonya Botherway, who was elusive yesterday in her attack, just able to get around the Indian women's defence there, work the baseline and open in front of goal, and it's a great finish there by Hannah, but it puts the Pacifica women up 1-0.
Yeah, it's one of those things you can't really do too much about, can you, Brad, when it comes across a goal like that, and you just opened up the face of your stick and just let it rip. So.
Yeah, absolutely. Those are the sort of goals that, as a coach, you really expect your players to execute when your player on the baseline does a great job of opening up the rest of the goal and the rest of the circle.
Correct.
And you have great players in front of the cage there that put goals away. You're very pleased as a coach there, and I'm sure Paul Magoon, who I did mention, his team did start slow yesterday, conceding a goal in the 3rd minute to the New Zealand development woman. He'll be pleased with a bit better of a start and a lead as we get to the middle of this first quarter. The game today umpired by Nikki Hayes and Max Beach. Max Beach just did the last game as Tonya Botherway gets a shot away just wide of the goal. I've spoken about Tonya already today. Do keep an eye on her. That's number 7 for the New Zealand Pacifica team. she is aggressive going forward, and she is dangerous if she does get an opportunity in the circle. So the New Zealand Indian women's side will really have to keep control of her and just keep tabs on what she's doing when they do have the ball.
The Indians are just trying to find, trying to push that pass. They just need to slow it down a bit, I think, maybe, Brad, and just, get a few passes together, just find a bit more composure, which is what they're doing now, which is great.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I'd just like to see them, stick a couple of extra passes together and keep periods of possession to make this Pacifica women's side work on defence. And avoid easy turnovers like that, which put them on the back heels quickly. As that is Rose Parkinson, who's breaking forward for the Pacifica women's side. She finds her teammate down in the corner.
Good save. Well done.
That's 2 great saves there from Kashona. Yeah, so Kashona, who I did speak about as the goalkeeper in the New Zealand Indian women's side, she's made 2 really good saves there. Tonya Bothaway with the shot. They have conceded a penalty corner, and the Pacifica women will have another opportunity to extend their lead. The Indian women's side will need to be aware, like I said, of Lulu Tuilatalava's drag flick option out of the second bracket, and also Carissa Markia, who has lined up at the first bracket. She is a genuine hitting option off the top of the penalty corner as well. So 2 options.
Goes to Lulu. No.
Yeah, Lulu's opted for the hit. Didn't quite get the trap dead, and they did find themselves a second opportunity, but judged to have been an infringement first by umpire Nikki Hayes. She's doing a great job down there, keeping everything clean and under control as the Indian women's side earn themselves a free hit. Still attempting to come out of their own end with a little overhead aerial ball. Hasn't quite fallen to her player. But they do keep pressure on the ball here. As we see Carissa Markia on the ball, very experienced player. I spoke about yesterday her influence in this New Zealand Pacifica side as she does enter the circle. Doesn't quite earn herself a penalty corner, but she will take the attacking long corner, and New Zealand Pacifica keep possession.
I think Shamina Latham just getting down low in the tackle there, just forcing it over the back line for a long corner, which is good. It's Trishna there, putting pressure up.
Yeah, she's a real workhorse, Trishna. I noticed yesterday, she will go and put pressure on defenders. She will get up in the press, and she works extremely hard. Just putting that pressure on there for, to throw the extra pass, win possession. And her team has the ability through Manisha just to survey coming forward here. Probably a little unfortunate not to win the free hit there, but it does see Lulu Tuilatalava break forward with possession, and it just gets away from her through the good defensive scramble work there from the New Zealand Indian women's side. Coach Paresh Bicker will be pleased with them getting onto Lulu pretty early and not allowing her to get her head up and find passes.
Yeah, you mentioned Trishna's work rate. Last year she had off because she had a minor surgery on her neck, which put her out for the season, but she came back and is looking a bit fitter and stronger, although she's works hard at it. So she's always training, and she's enjoying her training again, which is great because there's not much pain anymore, so which is good for her.
Yeah, awesome. As we see an error just fall to the Pacifica women's side, and it is Tonya Bothaway, who I have mentioned is dangerous, around the edge of the circle. And a little bit of a miscommunication there between her and her teammate does see New Zealand Indian woman come away with the 16-yard hit, and they've gone quickly through Misha Tately, and it has been cleaned up there by Anjali Panchia. As we just see at the moment, the New Zealand Indian women really struggling to get out of their own end, and I think it is apparent that we are missing Alicia and Sharina there in their work and working the ball out of their defensive unit.
I think you're right there, Brad, just with the amount of caps that they've had through Premier Hockey. You can't buy experience, and it doesn't matter what grade or what level you're playing at. You just, we've got 2 girls, 2 ladies that have probably dropped 400 caps, between them. So it's just something you can't buy. And
Unfortunate there for Manisha. She did all the right work and it just rolled over the sideline after she made the tackle. But yeah, you speak of the experience of Alicia and Sharina, and you know they have been long time, you know, fantastic players both in the club hockey and I'm sure for their respective Indian sides. So they'll be a big boost when they are able to play in these teams for these younger players. So
yeah, I think we're hoping to have them back tomorrow. Well, I'm sure they're back tomorrow, and it's a development team obviously tomorrow, which will be a big ask again. You know, young, fitter, so which is great to see. So it's a good mix of players. Experience with the Pacifica and the Maori side, obviously.
Yep.
And it's great with the development teams being so young and fit.
Yeah, I think you touch on something that's really exciting about this tournament is, you know, all four of the sides do play very different. You know, we see the speed and the pace of these New Zealand development sides who are young and they just want to go and they want to go fast all the time. And, you know, you see the physicality of both the Pacifica sides, men's and women's, you know, being quite physical teams, very tough, very strong, and they like playing hard and playing strong. And you see the Māori sides very flary, quite creative, like throwing the ball in front. And then you see the incredible skill work in the Indian sides. Just offers up different dynamics, and it really tests you as you have to make different game plans depending on who you're playing against. So it's an exciting tournament, and it's one we really look forward to growing moving forward as I know the New Zealand Indian Sports Association do a lot of work around the QBT and the Queen's Birthday tournament and making sure you have tournaments available for your players. So to give them this next step without having to travel internationally is awesome.
Yes, and this so the QBT is a great event. That's our annual event, which is one of our biggest events that we run all year, obviously, with all 8 associations participating. We have six in the men's A grade, 6 in the men's B, and of late we've been having 4 in the ladies comp. I'll let you take over here, Brad.
Yeah, there's just a little attack building here for the Pacifica women's side. Well touch intercepted by the New Zealand Indian women, but they're not completely out of it just yet, as the Pacifica women do maintain possession through Saffron Cribb with a long corner. She'll just look to get on the outside of Misha Tately, but it's not going to go through there as the Indian women break out on a bit of a counter-attack now. This is something that the Pacifica women struggled with yesterday, is defending counter-attack. So if this Indian women's side through Manisha Jerem can just find their way in behind some defenders. Unfortunate there as some of the Indian women's side didn't see the same call Max Beach made, but if they can keep some pressure on here. As I was mentioning, something that the Pacifica women did struggle with yesterday is that counter-attack hockey. So if there are some options to throw the ball in behind some of these defenders and use the speed and skill of some of these Indian women's players, you know, that will go a long way to building some attack for them. As Rose Parkinson just finds Jessica Weck for the Pacifica women's side. She crashes the ball into the circle. That's cleared by Misha Tately. And just a little obstruction call there from Max Beach over in front of the dugout. Does give the Indian women possession a little higher up the field.
I think the Indian women will want to try and press here and try and get as many players up as they can. You know, last minute of the game, try and put something there.
Yeah, we can see Manisha Jerem has rolled a little bit higher up the field, very similar to the way her brother likes to play. So if they can get this ball in behind the defenders, they can create something. But the Pacifica women have earned possession in the middle of the field. And that is Antonio Cortese going forward up the left side of the field there for the Pacifica women's side, and earns herself a free hit. Now, just under a minute to play in this first quarter. Fast start from the Pacifica women. They have had the share of possession and territory so far in this match. Suresh, what do you expect Paresh is going to be saying to his team in this quarter break?
Well, I think we just need to value possession a lot more. That's what I'd be saying. I think we've had opportunities if we just held on, like we spoke earlier in the quarter, that if we held on to that pass, maybe 2 or 3 more passes to then look to get into the circle. But obviously, it's easy for us watching on the sidelines to say that because everyone's a coach.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's harder on the field, and I think with the pressures of yesterday's game as well, there may be a bit of fatigue. But it is still pre-season for a lot of clubs out there. I think Auckland have started, maybe Auckland North Harbour, but I know a lot of the country areas haven't started yet. So this is like a pre-season for some of the teams.
Yeah,
players. Sorry.
Absolutely. It'll as the tournament goes on, it's tough playing 4 games in 4 days back to back, especially in the heat of yesterday. There has been a little bit of cloud cover come over today, which I'm sure the women out there will be thankful for. But you're right, it is still a pre-season for most of the clubs and teams around the country. So these first couple of games will be burning the lungs. They'll be battling through the game. So some signs of fatigue will be out there. But I think you're right, and it's as we see the replay here, thanks to One Foundation, the Pacifica women able to link up with Tonya Botherway going forward. This resulted in their first goal, as Botherway just breaks along the baseline. We talked about being nice and low in front of the goal, and that's a good quality finish there from Hannah Rose Elia. You see the Pacific women just able to win their share of free hits in and around the attacking circle. After that goal, nothing really to trouble the goalkeeper, as the shot was wide there from Tonya Botherway. We will see the penalty corner, which does go to the second bracket through Lulu and doesn't quite fall how she would like. Now the ball does end up in the goal, but it is judged to have come off the Pacifica women's side. So those are the bulk of the opportunities, and they have been with the Pacifica women's side this quarter. But like you say, Suresh, I think the Indian women's team just need to continue the passing, keep possession for periods of time, and in traditional Indian hockey, keep the game short, play with numbers around the ball, a lot of touches, use their stick skill to make the Pacifica women's team work a little bit more defensively.
Yeah, I think you're right there. Just try and get around that second line of defence. Let's get over that 25 and start stringing a few passes together, get the ball inside the circle there.
Yeah, that's a fantastic finish, almost a carbon copy to the first goal, and the Pacifica women came out fast. Again, Tonya Botherway on the baseline. You'll see her go right from the hit off here on the One Foundation replay. The New Zealand Indian side maybe not quite ready for the quarter to start, but Tonya very similar to the first goal. And that one's finished well there by Kelsey Lomas. So a very similar goal to the first one. We talked about how important it is for players off the ball to be moving around the circle so they can be targets for those passes off the baseline. And the Pacifica women's side, coached by Paul Magoon, they will be very happy with that goal. And we've talked in previous games about how important those periods, 2 or 3 minutes before and after each break are. The Pacifica women will be happy that they were able to come out so strong in that second quarter and just extend their lead, as Manisha Jerem, like I said, opts here just to throw the ball in behind the Pacifica women and test out their defensive play. She's asking her team to get up nice and high here.
I think sometimes it's just to get their ball down the other end of the field. You haven't been down here in a long time, just to see, put a bit of pressure on the attacking team coming out of their defence. Just put the pressure on and see how you go. You need to test it.
Yeah, it's a tidy little turn there from Saffron Cribb as they do manage to get as far as halfway before Jaina makes a tackle on halfway there for the New Zealand Indian women's side. But you're right, I think it's tough playing for long periods of time in your own defensive 25, and sometimes you do just need to get down the other end, like I think Manisha was thinking there, and just see, put some pressure on the defenders, see if they've got some outletting skills, and try and force an error a little bit further up the field. And I mentioned it just before the break, but Manisha Jerem has moved herself a little higher up the field, just hoping for an opportunity to come her way to test out her attacking skills as the Indian women play the ball into the midfield there to Misha Tately, who finds Jaina. That's a great tackle there by Stacey Wepper. And those are the small little mistakes out of the back we talk about. Manisha just putting some pressure there on the outlet, and I think certainly in women's hockey, territory does play a big part of how successful you're going to be. We don't often see the big, long overhead aerial balls that we see in some of the men's games. So getting to the right end of the field, like the New Zealand Indian women's side are now, does create opportunities, and you want to be playing as much hockey as possible at your attacking end.
Yeah, and I think at this end of the field, we don't need to be going 100 miles an hour, Brad. They can just pass it around the back and maybe play sensible hockey, string a few passes together.
Yeah, as we see Stacey Wepper here just use her skills to come through the first Pacifica defender. They've earned themselves a free hit just outside the circle, and Misha Tately will open up the other side of the field. That's a tidy bit of defensive work there from Lulu Tuilatalava. That's young Devyani Solma that we spoke about earlier. Just finding a little bit of a circle entry, but not able to link up with her teammates as Kayla Val outlets across the
just
field.
Looking for that little foot in there, I think, Brad. Maybe just, but Lulu's far too smart for that, I think. So
yeah.
She just managed to get herself around.
Yeah, I think you see the experience of a player like Lulu there, just not allowing her feet to be exposed there and offer up a penalty corner. She did a good job of getting her feet out of the way. But like I say, these opportunities will come when you play at the right end of the field. And here maybe another one as Manisha Jerem just comes onto an overhead ball here for the New Zealand Indian side and links up again with Stacey Wepper, who has been impressive in her tackle for the New Zealand Indian women's side.
Stacey's playing up front, which is causing a few little problems there, I think. Just little subtle touches which are going well.
Yeah, and here we will find the New Zealand Indian women's with an opportunity in the circle. Shot goalward. Is cleared by the Pacifica women's goalkeeper. Good bit of skill there from Shane and our side, but unable to link up with her players or find the foot as Lulu Tuilatalava breaks downfield at pace. She will link up, and unfortunately unable to link up there with Kelsey Lomas, the goal scorer.
But I think, like you said, once you get in the field down here, the Indians were on attack. Just a few little missed traps here and there, so you're putting pressure on, which is great to see. I think you'll find Manisha maybe moved back a bit now because Trishna's back on the field. So they're rotating that front spot a bit, trying to get a bit of attack up there with the two different styles of game they play. Trishna's pretty aggressive up there and it's full of running, and then Manisha's strength and power up there in the shots.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's important to note that the New Zealand Indian women have had, since the goal early in the quarter, have enjoyed much better periods of possession in this quarter. So perhaps the messaging you mirrored and talked about is what Paresh has been speaking about, by keeping possession, keeping that pass rate nice and high, as they create a little bit of an attack here with a quick free hit. Wow, great scramble in front of goal there from both sides. Narrowly missed on the near side of the goal there. But again, it's enterprising from the New Zealand Indian women's side, Suresh. I think they might be getting the message.
I think this may be the best period of play they've had for the last, for this first half. This last 3 or 4 minutes, they've had a bit of pressure up here, which is great. And it's good to see them getting the ball inside the circle and having a few shots. Hey, if it's going at the goal, that's all it needs to be, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. It just has to be going at the goal to be an opportunity, as we see Misha Tately attempt to throw an overhead there to Jaina. Max Beach just said, too many people there. Misha Tately probably didn't quite get it as far as she expected, and there's just too many players under the ball there, so an easy call for Max Beach to make, as Carissa Markia has the ball at the back here for the Pacifica women's side. They look to Lulu's overloaded on the right side, but they do come back to the left through Jessica Weck.
Got a bit of a press going on from the Indians here, which is good to see.
It is. Like you say, we've had a good period here for the Indian women's side, and I think they're buoyed by that, and the confidence is growing. They've thrown a press forward, but this may be danger stations as Lulu does break forward with possession, and we've talked about her talent and her experience. They do enough to break down play, but they're not out of complete danger yet, as Marika Magoon there takes the free hit, but not quite on the right spot for umpire Nikki Hayes' liking.
I think you just noticed the strength of what Lulu brings, like the strength on the ball and just the pass rate that she has, just the strong pass, just, so strong over the ball, which, for defenders it's hard, you just that power she brings.
Absolutely, she's a very physical athlete, and you can tell that she's played at the next level, and her international experience and even her physical conditioning shows that she can play physical and fast like that, but still have the strength and power to make good passes, find up other sides of the field that might be less crowded or less populated, and just survey good options going forward. And she's a real key figure in this Pacifica women's side as they do swing the ball around the back. There's some pressure being put on, and you spoke about the fitness there of Trishna Abernathy. She's putting some pressure on. It's Tori Vale with the ball out the back, and they do find Lulu on the opposite side of the field, and that's the power we talked about there. Unable to link up with Rose Parkinson or with Kelsey Lomas, but that skill set there that she can distribute the ball over distance very quickly is a huge skill for Lulu.
Exactly. Gets down very low on the ball and just power, just everything's on the deck, which is great if you're when you're out on the wing or on the halves there, just picking up that ball because it's on the deck. You keep your stick down. For any young players out there, stick on the ground because you can't trap the ball when your stick's in the air. So you'll get all your coaches hounding that into you.
Yeah, absolutely. And like you say, when somebody like Lulu has the ability to pass at quality on the ground like that, it makes it easier for her teammates to execute that basic skill, as we see a great save there by Kashona. But they're not going to be able to keep it out for the third shot, and that one is put away by the New Zealand Pacifica women's side after two great saves by Kashona in goal for the New Zealand Indian women's. But the Pacifica do push themselves a little further ahead in this game. So it is 3-0 there midway through the second quarter. It's the third goal for the Pacifica women's side and second one for this quarter. As the Indian women look to strike back quickly, they've got an attacking play. It does find the leg of Jessica Weck, so they will get themselves a free hit just outside the circle. I know Max Beach said long corner. Manisha just unable to get the ball through the Pacifica defence there, but it does fall to Misha Tately, who turns the ball over, and the Pacifica women are out attacking through Jamie Lewis. She finds Tonya Bothaway, who just rolls the ball back to her midfielder, and that's a fantastic transfer pass, unable to be taken in clean by Irana Tamati.
There's good pressure put on there by Soma, just helping her out over the sideline, but they're still on defence.
Yeah, I've been impressed by young Devyani Soma, who has come in and helped out in the absence of Alicia and Sharina Nana today. She does play reserve grade hockey, but is out here, mixing it with the likes of Lulu Tuilatalava, who is an international athlete. It's awesome to see her get these experiences and playing well. That's a great save there by Kashona. Wrong-footed off the deflection touch by Tonya Bothaway.
Well done.
And she's managed to get her left boot out to it and keep it away from the goal. Not an easy thing to do when you're falling to the right to try and save to your left. I'm sure Suresh have heard of your goalkeeping exploits. What do you think about that sort of save?
I think it's just something that you, as a goalie, you love it. You're going one way, then you'll be able to change direction and get your toe out. It's just... At the end of the day, it doesn't matter how you save it, as long as you save it. Doesn't matter what body part, but it's great to see Kashona having a great half, but deflections you can't do much about, or the rebounds, you just save your first shot, as any goalie will tell you, get your first shot away and everything else is a bonus. So
absolutely, and those sort of saves can really grow confidence in your team when your goalie pulls off a great save like that, as we do see Chris Amakia break through towards the circle. Tonya Bothaway trying to pick up the deflection, as you spoke about, very difficult to save. Fortunately for the New Zealand Indian women's side, it wasn't on target. But yeah, a great save, a toe save like that, falling the wrong direction, can really spur a team on and just give them a little extra boost of confidence when their goalkeeper can pull off a skill like that. As we do see the Indian women, like you say, we're connecting these passes here a little bit better now, and it's
Shane are trying to get through the traffic there,
yep,
not
win
getting the whistle.
Win the free hit there eventually. But I like the passing from the Indian women's side as they do find Trishna out on the sideline there. There's good composure there from
for a young player, she's playing very composed.
From Shayna, yeah.
First year at university and plays up in, is it Roscoe Eden does she play, or is it university, I think?
Manisha on the ball, just surveying her options forward. You talked about when Manisha rolls herself back into that midfield and Trishna rolls up the front. They just have a different dynamic coming forward. So awesome to see them both on the park. Hopefully they can connect. They will have played some hockey together at Pukekohe Indians.
And I think with the last, they've got an eye on the score on the timeline there. So 3 minutes to go. Just give it a bit of a push till the half is over. So hoping to try and get something on the board, or at least the PC.
Yeah, I'm sure Paresh will be urging his women's side here to find something in this last couple of minutes to take into the second half, as we see again Tonya, by the way, an absolute gun going forward for the Pacifica women's side. She's been phenomenal in both games for them so far, setting up attacking opportunity after attacking opportunity, and they didn't quite connect on that one, but there is opportunity up there for them on the end of Tonya Bothaway's skills. So the Indian woman through Misha Tately. Nice little bit of skill there to just shake off the would-be defender and earn a free hit there for Rashika Chiba for the New Zealand Indian women's side.
It's a good trap under pressure.
It is a great trap there, but that's the difference we talk about between somebody like Lulu with the international experience, just making sure that pass would be on the ground. Correct. And not putting the pressure on her teammates to make that trap, though a great trap it was. As the Pacifica women do earn themselves a free hit. Now, we spoke about time, and there is just under 2 minutes to go in the second quarter as the Pacifica women hold the ball at the back.
But you talked about them using that speed of the ball, and you see that they were able to get down that right-hand side very easily, just with the power in their pass and just on the deck.
Yeah, absolutely. As Indian women do just thwart a would-be Pacifica attack here and maybe look to counter-attack in the last minute of the game. They've remained possession. They just need some players up ahead of the ball. Let's look to see players like Trishna Abernathy just move her way up the field and give them an attacking option for this last minute. They'll keep possession moving forward.
And getting a bit of a roll on here, so hopefully they can build a bit of pressure inside the 25.
It's a good tackle there from Antonia Cortese for the New Zealand Pacifica women's side, but it is one back through Manisha Jerem. And she is dispossessed by Tonya Bothaway, who finds Rose Parkinson, and that is another great save from Kashona Tapachitri. As they do just try and play long to find maybe one last chance in the closing moments of this quarter.
Yeah, I think they've seen the clock as well, Brad, and they're just playing it down the sideline.
And that'll wrap us up for the second quarter of action here between the New Zealand Pacifica women and the New Zealand Indian women. The score currently 3-0 to the New Zealand Pacifica women in what has been an exciting match so far. The Pacifica women really making the most of their opportunities, especially through the skill of Tonya Bothaway on the baseline is really causing some problems for the New Zealand Indian women's side. And Coach Paresh Bika will really be expecting his team to do a better job defending Tonya when she is around the edge of the circle and certainly in the circle. I'm here with Suresh, and Suresh has spoken about his Indian women's sides needing to keep the game short and keep their passes high and keep periods of possession, as we do see one of the goals here on the One Foundation replay. That is Tonya, by the way, I spoke about. Just getting in and around the Indian women's defence, opening up the circle and the front of the goal for her team to finish there, and that was the first goal of the game. Now on this replay here, we do see again the Pacifica women with some attacking possession going forward.
Yeah, they're having quite a bit of luck down that right-hand side, Brad, I think, and that one, as you can see, just sprayed wide. Rushing that shot.
Yeah, I think they. You're right. They're getting some real purchase down the attacking right-hand side, and it may be something that Paresh wants to address with his team at half-time here. It's always tough to defend on your left side, defensively on your reverse stick side. But certainly something as we see the second goal here from the Pacifica woman, Tonya, by the way, just takes off from the hit off and. It nearly goes the whole way south against a scrambling Indian women's defence, and the goal well put away there by Kelsey Lomas, very similar to the first goal.
That goes, you'd say, they've just been caught napping and just picked up a nice goal there.
Yeah, and that was the third goal there. A little bit of a scramble. Kashona making a good couple of saves there, but just unable to keep the last one out there from the Pacifica women's side as it is finished. And this is Tonya, by the way, again, just causing problems, unable to link up with her players. But you can see it's very evident as a tactic from Paul Magoon and his side to attack down that right-hand side, and they're getting real purchase from Tonya on that side of the field. Now, Suresh, talk to us a little more about what events and what tournaments and things that you do have on for the New Zealand Indian Sports Association.
So we do a few different events. So in the summer we do a cricket tournament, and between the 8 associations we rotate all of these events that we do. So we have a cricket tournament which is usually 2020. Over the last few years it's been 2020 because that seems to bring in the players and a quicker format of the game, which is very good. And this year was hosted by Pukekohe, and that was ran over 2 days in January, which was great down at Bledisloe Park there by the Pack and Safe. We're quite fortunate that we had 6 teams enter, which was great. And the boys had good fun, and Pukekohe are quite fortunate that they came away with the win. So the reason we could take it to the places where they have a team in the normal competition. So Auckland's, Wellington's, Rotorua's, they have a team in their local cricket competition. But we decided a few years ago that we'll take it to the places that don't have teams as well. So that puts the effort back on that association to enter a team. So we've got the cricket, so the boys got together and formed a cricket team. A couple of years ago in Central Districts, they managed to get 2 cricket teams, and they don't have a normal cricket team. So we also have golf tournaments that we have, which is a golf open, which was run in Auckland two weeks ago out at the Hillpie Golf Course. That was great. Our main event coming up, which is Queen's Birthday weekend, which is run over in January, obviously through Queen's Birthday, and this year Pukekohe are hosting that.
Yep. Yeah, it's a big one on the calendar. I'm sure. I know a few guys down in the Bay, plenty. Indian Sports Club who amp up every year for the Queen's Birthday tournament, and it's always an exciting tournament to be at. So, last year with COVID, how did that affect your?
It was a real tough year for everything. And hey, sports is a great outlet for everybody, but for the organising committee, everyone was. You can't organise, and a lot of caterers, a lot of people that do marquees want some sort of deposit, and we're sitting on our hands waiting, wondering what to do. So unfortunately for NZI, we had to make the call to postpone it for this year and just push everything back a year, for the hosts for the next season. So hopefully 2021 we'll be back on track.
Yeah, awesome.
Touch wood.
Yeah, it's a tough call to make, but certainly one that has to be made to keep everyone safe and make sure everyone is there at the next tournament. And
yeah, like there's a lot of the background stuff goes into these tournaments, which is very, very time consuming, and it takes your whole community. It's not just a team; it takes a community to run these events.
Yeah.
And Pacifica, we're quite fortunate. We do have a good community and a lot of people to help. But and we're all doing it for love, like any sort of sport, like a minor sport like hockey. It's we're all doing it for love, so it's great though. Great to get the community together.
Yeah. You talk about support, and I've noticed at this tournament, we've got some pretty proud sponsorship from the Barna family farms. Talk to us about what it is they do and what support they give.
So Barna Family Farms, they're a commercial grower, market gardening out in Pukekohe. So they supply, they produce potatoes, onions, carrots, pumpkins, and some of the greens that you have there.
Yes, we just see a little attack here from the Pacifica woman. Tonya, by the way, giving away the free hit, and it's good defensive work there from Rishika Chiba. And she just outlets Surangeli Panchia. Does give away the free hit, so the Pacifica woman will stay on attack. And yeah, as you mentioned, the Barna Family Farms, it's awesome for them to support an event like this, and I'm sure that they support New Zealand Indian sports as well.
Where they can, like we've reached out to a few people, and unfortunately with hockey it's a minor sport, and communities always try and support where they can, and businesses do, and we understand it's been a tough year for all businesses. So we've tried not to pick everybody, and you can only have so much, so it's a small weight.
Yeah,
bit dangerous coming into the circle.
Yeah the idea was there. I think she was just trying to get the ball in quickly, and unfortunately on a reverse stick there, Hannah Rose Elia, the first goal scorer for the Pacifica women's side, just unable to keep that one on the deck. Yeah.
So Barna's they've been in business for a long time down in Pukekohe, so they're great to have their support where they could. They were lucky enough for our NZ Indians teams to get shirts sponsored by them, and they were happy enough to sponsor some fresh produce for Mama's Kitchen up here in the cafeteria, so that was great. So any little bit, that's just the way we try and do things down in Pukekohe. Smaller communities, just try and help out where we can.
Yeah, absolutely. It's great to see, and like you say, you mentioned that hockey certainly in its infancy professionally in New Zealand. Our very top teams do get bits of funding, but certainly at this level, a lot of it is user pays, and we hope to get some help from different community groups. And it was a tough year, it's still tough with the effects of COVID-19, so all that support is greatly appreciated by our players. Here is Pacifica just unable to get that last pass away in the attacking circle. The New Zealand Indian women will look to outlet here through Charmaine Aletham and Misha Tately. It's Rose Parkinson coming to put a bit of pressure on. Misha Tately looking to open up the left-hand side of the field. And they will keep possession going forward.
So we're also lucky enough with Turners and Growers to supply a bit of fresh fruit for our some of our players. So that's been distributed amongst all players and all teams. So we're quite fortunate with that as well. Just with friends that we have working in different places, as you know, you just call in a favour.
Yep.
So we're quite lucky to have them. Also got a friend that's at Griffin's Foods, so he's supplied about 600 bars of muesli for the players. So we've been pushing those around the place. So it's great to just have those little things, to make the tournament a bit special. And as players, when you've played through the ranks, you don't get much. So any little bit's appreciative.
Absolutely. And we just see the Pacifica woman with another little attack here through Carissa Markia. It's a fantastic ball out to Lulu Tuolatalava on the right-hand side of the field as she sizes up Manisha Jerem and doesn't quite get her way through there. But we'll keep possession through a free hit, and Pacifica woman look to entry pass. And Misha Tately, they're just unable to keep the ball down on the ground after the crash ball in from Tori Vauer. Will concede a penalty corner.
Good got a change in goal here. We've got Queenie in goal for the Indian side.
Awesome. So that's Queenie Blakelock.
Correct.
She's actually a guest goalkeeper.
Yes, so Queenie's a young goalie that we have down in Counties Manukau. She plays for Alfriston, and sort of coached her when she was in the the old development teams, Collier. So she's a great young goalie who's willing and keen to learn. So
yeah, it's a goal that happened yesterday
Yes.
in very similar fashion with the same player. That is Kayla Val there, as we see on the One Foundation replay. On the first bracket there, that ball was hit and it stayed hit. Not a lot there that either the goalkeeper or the lineman could do there, unfortunately. But it does extend the Pacifica women's team's lead out to 4-0 here early in the third quarter.
yeah, that stay hit, didn't it, Brad? So one of those great ones. As a striker of the ball, you want to hear, but as a goalkeeper, you don't want to hear that sort of stuff.
Yeah, it's one of those ones. Often as a goalkeeper, you hear it before you see it, and
Correct.
it's an unfortunate sound to hear, but you know it all too well. And it's a great goal. It's well executed, and it has been put in the corner by the Pacifica women's side. But yeah, certainly a sound you dread as a goalkeeper, I'm sure, Suresh.
Yeah, well, listen to a story that Brett Lever was telling us last night when he was playing against Bovelander, who was a traditional hitter of the ball for PCs, and they were running first and the ball would bounce out of the goal and beat them out. So you could see the power that he was possessing back then. But some of these players and the sticks that they have and the condition that some of these players are in, their physical condition, it's just amazing.
Wow, as we see a great ball forward there from Rose Parkinson as she found Jamie Lewis inside the circle with a reverse deflection. We saw there Queenie Blakelock just able to get a little toe to the ball and keep it away from her goal. But it was an awesome deflection there from Jamie Lewis, who is still on the ball here for the Pacifica women's side. And she has done well enough there just to roll it on the foot of Rashika Chiba inside the circle there. So the Pacifica women's side will earn themselves another penalty corner. You can just see off screen Kayla Val just running over to Paul Magoon to get the details of the penalty corner. She'll bring that information in now. Max Beach asking the Pacifica women's team to get the show on the road. You know, we're here for a good time, not a long time. And they will set up very similar to the last penalty corner. Well, they've gone for a little deflection option there for the injector, aiming for Marika Magoon. Just didn't quite pay off. She wasn't quite on the right angle when she looked to deflect the ball there. As good tackle there from Devyani Soma on Lulu Tuola-Talava. Earns the Indian women possession just on their side of halfway over on the sideline.
I think you spoke earlier about the opportunity of these young players they get, but I think the big opportunity is when a young player does tackle someone like Lulu, and that gives them that extra bit of confidence to go forward again and try things out. And I think that's the great thing about this tournament. We've got young players mixing it up against some of these NHL players, NZ players, rep players, and it gives them a taste of it, and I think that just pushes them along a lot more, like these young keepers that are getting saving shots or having the ball fight against them by Lulu and some of these other stronger ladies. It's just awesome to see, and they're pulling off some saves and pulling off tackles, which is great.
Yeah, absolutely. And I often see we have a similar thing as we'll just see as Lulu does come forward for the Pacifica woman and links up with Jamie Lewis, again unable to get her shot on target. We have similar things happen at our, even at our national Māori tournament, where we have, black sticks and NHL players and guys that have played years and years facing off against guys at their first tournament, and it's it's exciting to see one of those young guys make the tackle or make the play on one of those players, and often they don't actually even know who and what they are, and sometimes that's better because I think they just go and play them like a normal person.
Exactly.
But you do see it buoy them, when they do pull those sort of things off. And
I think the best thing is like afterwards in the changing rooms when they talk it up. Like that's the best thing about it. The younger players like to talk up how great.
Yeah,
as they say, the older I get, the better I was. So
yeah.
That's what they like to do. So It's great.
Absolutely.
And I think it's a great pathway because that's what this whole tournament was about: creating pathways for our young players. And I think this is where they're gonna learn a lot of that stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. And in discussions with people like yourself and who were influential in putting this tournament together, I think the next thing we look at is replicating this on a junior level. Giving more young people from all of our communities this opportunity as well, as we roll this out into an annual and a growing event. So what sort of do you have junior divisions at your QBT? What's the
we actually run and I'll let you take over for a bit
we
here.
Just got a little attack here through Lulu, and Carissa's picked it up on a second opportunity. Great defensive work there from Misha Tately, but it has just rolled onto her foot. She did try and get away from that one quickly, but Carissa plays the ball out. And they've got a great circle entry here. Fantastic tackle there from Misha Tately as we wind into the final 5 minutes of this quarter.
She's done well there to keep it down and keep it just off her stick. Nobody was involved, so no PC.
Absolutely. It's a missed opportunity there for Hannah Rosalia. She just tried to get a little touch on that ball to direct it into the goal. She come up with air, unfortunately. As Misha Tately again probably just not quite getting the distance on these overheads as she's hoping for, but does enough to clean up and avoid the imminent danger. The Pacifica women will continue with possession through Jessica Weck. Jessica Weck playing her hockey down here in Auckland, originally from Whangarei, and is down at school in Auckland. Awesome to see her out here for the Pacifica women's side. As we've got ball into Tonya, by the way, she's dangerous. A little bit off target, but good pressure put on her and her shot by the New Zealand Indian women's defence.
Yeah, I think as you see the Pacifica just getting the ball inside the circle here, just making something happen, trying to make the Indians play it, which is what we talked about in the first half as well.
Yeah, it's just asking questions of the defence.
Exactly.
You put pressure on, especially in this circle here as a defender and as a goalkeeper. You're under a lot of pressure there to not make mistakes. Any little mistakes in attacking penalty corner potentially. So attacking teams can really ask questions just by throwing some ball into that circle and seeing how it's dealt with. As the Pacifica women just fall off the last pass there, going forward through Antonia Cortesi.
Yeah, I think Pacifica have been camped down here for the last few minutes now, and I think it's the pressure's slowly building. So I think just Indians need to keep composure, maybe just get the ball up at the other end of the field like they did in the first half. Just get the ball up and ask a few questions of them coming out of defence.
Yeah, unfortunately they've turned the ball over there as they were just looking for a little 3D pass through Devyani Soma. And the Pacifica women have picked up through Rose Parkinson. Manisha Jera making a tackle there. Yeah, I think Max Beach was weighing up the options in his mind and maybe thinking that it was probably only going over the back line, but will give them a reprieve with maybe the distance away from the circle and goal it was.
Yes.
The Indian women do earn a free hit here through a bit of a mishit out of the back from the Pacifica women, but just see how high the Pacifica women are pressing here. That all of their players are nearly up in this attacking half. They're really trying to put an extra little exclamation mark on this quarter. But as you said, play some hockey at the other end.
There's a bit of a chance, just to get it over this back line there. Just a long corner coming up for the Indians team.
Yep, and that's all it takes. Is we saw certainly in this first game of today between the New Zealand Indian men and the New Zealand Pacifica men, chances very limited for the Indian men in the first quarter, but scored both of them. So all it takes is an opportunity, and you put yourselves in the right area of the field, and those opportunities come. So
I think that was another one for young players, just, stick on the ground and, you never know what's going to happen when the ball comes across. So,
yeah, absolutely.
like we had one of the younger players that scored a brilliant goal there, the second goal, with that pass from Shea, I think it was. But no, it's the passes around the back there, Brad, from the Pacifica team are just flat and hard. It's great, just the power that they have.
Yeah, they've got some experienced players around the back, and you can tell that they play, senior club hockey. And I know the Vale sisters are also involved in coaching hockey to a high level. So, it's awesome to see those sort of players and the way that they move the ball around the back. As Misha Tately does a fantastic job there of dispossessing Lulu Tuilatalava. Doesn't get all the way through there, as it is get a bit scrappy in the last minute of the game of the third quarter here. Both teams kind of wanting to maybe make something of this last couple of minutes as the Pacifica women come forward and get a little tangled up there with Jaina Suka. Again, this Pacifica women's side really favouring the attacking right-hand side of the field, as they have done for the majority of this game.
Yeah, I think just a few little errors creeping into the Indians game there, just coming out of defence. So.
Yeah, again, just unable to get out of their own half, and the Pacifica women will rue a missed opportunity there over the baseline. Kelsey Lomas, the goal scorer, unable to pull it in.
It's that third quarter where I think it's just the fatigue's probably setting in after yesterday's game as well. So I think the last quarter is going to be a tough one for both teams.
Yeah, it's a big ask physically, especially those players here that are playing big minutes. As we do just see the
crash ball in.
Yeah, unfortunate that the hooter and whistles had gone. It was an enterprising little play, but we are here at the third quarter break. The score is 4-0 to the New Zealand Pacifica women's team over the New Zealand Indian women's team. And we've got one quarter of hockey left to play here at Colmar Sports Centre in Papatoetoe. It's been an exciting game. There's been some awesome goals scored by the Pacifica women's side and exceptional bit of play so far from Tonya Botherway up front for the New Zealand Pacifica women's side. But despite a lot of pressure, some real resolute defending from the Indian women's side, and they are still trying to create attacking options and get to the right end of the field. And standing out for them has been Misha Tately and her work in defence, as well as Manisha Jerem's versatility, playing at the front and in the midfield so far, just to try and get her team the opportunities to go forward, as well as the tireless work of Trishna Abernathy at the front, as Suresh mentioned earlier, coming back from an injury. So awesome to see both sides out here. Both teams coming off losses yesterday and penalty shootouts, so the effects of fatigue on the legs and the lungs will be very apparent in this last quarter. I'm sure Paul Magoon, as we look at their huddle right now, is expecting them to continue to attack. He won't want to park the bus. He won't want to take the foot off at all. He will want to build some momentum going into tomorrow's game, which will prove a big one for the Pacifica women as they look to work their way towards Monday's final.
Yeah, I think you're right there. I think it's they'll just be building a bit of pressure, just maybe keep their systems going, get the ball pass rate. And they've been doing it well around the back and coming down the flanks. I think the Pacifica team have been doing that really well today. Just the speed of the ball, which I think we're seeing, and with the powerful ladies that they have, it's just been great to see. For young players getting down low, striking that ball hard, and just the clean traps that they've been able to make. And it just makes it easier for your attacking players or your mate next to you.
Yeah, absolutely. As we see the New Zealand Indian women take us into this fourth quarter with possession. They have been turned over by Rose Parkinson for the Pacifica women, as Michaela Wepper does chase back. Yeah, it didn't make its way to the foot as Rose Parkinson had intended. And Misha Tately does clean up and just get the ball out of their defensive 25 there, even if just momentarily, as the Pacifica women do contain possession. It's a great little tackle there. From Karishma Kumar, number 3 for the New Zealand Indian women's side, and work there from Anjali Panchia. But it is Jessica Weck with the Pacifica women's side with possession.
A nice bit of skill to get out of that tight marking there. So
and they'll just hold possession at the back. That's a great entry pass into their midfield, and as you've mentioned multiple times, Suresh, their ability to transfer the ball has been quality today, and it's probably been the telling factor for them to be able to move the ball from left to right and really attack with quality down the right-hand side of the field. It makes it really difficult for the Indian women's side to defend both sides of the field.
Yes, and I think you've got key, when you've got good, strong players, key players in each level of the field, like your attack, your mid, and your backs, it just makes it so much easier. Just that ball transfer and the communication that they get from each layer.
Yeah, absolutely. The Pacifica women do certainly have a couple of influential players littered up and down their team, so it's great to be able to have people like Tonya Botherway leading their attacking group, and Lulu in their midfield, and Carissa to lead their defensive group, and Paul Magoon will really call on those sort of players as leaders inside this group to ensure that they stick to their processes. As you do see a little bit of a back and forth here, will be cleaned up by Misha Tately and back out through Sharmina Leatham. Umpire Nikki Hayes not willing to give the free hit to Michaela Wepper there. She thought she'd done enough to earn it, but Pacifica women through Jessica Weck. And we find Antonia Cortesi with ball out there, and she does a great job of just rolling the ball onto the foot of Karishma Kumar there. Unfortunately, she probably just, as you mentioned, Suresh, wasn't low enough. Quite upright in the circle, and you'd expect your defensive group to be a little lower, protecting their feet, maybe looking at that entry pass, and just got caught out with the ball. Yeah,
I think it's just, the wrong, just trying to get your body around, and then obviously she's dragging it over behind her, so, it's unfortunate, but hey, we have another PC coming up, and I'm sure they won't be changing much, but we'll soon find out, Brad.
Yep. Wasn't as clean at the top as they would have liked, but they do find a quality opportunity out of it, and it was a deflection there in front of goal by Marika Magoon on a reverse stick that did just go over the goal. Now, I think it was deliberate out of the top to go to her, as she was in a great position to receive it, as Misha Tately does just throw the ball over the sideline in front of Michaela Wepper there, and it does give an opportunity for Pacifica women to attack again.
I think it's just those little things, Brad, that are making it hard for the Indian ladies to get out of here, Just out of defence, I think you just need to shore it up. Take your time, take a breath, and just find your pass. We don't need to put our mate under pressure, especially off a free hit.
Yeah, I think they're probably feeling the effects, A, of fatigue, and B, being down on the scoreboard and just wanting to go fast and wanting to do everything they can maybe to score those goals back or score the first one, but they still have to keep possession and cherish it, and they're just forcing a little bit here that are causing some mistakes, and
I think we've all played in games like that, and you understand what's going on. But it's easy to say from the sideline. When you're on there, it's always a bit harder, isn't it? When you're chasing a game. So
absolutely,
we have a bit of a run off down the field, Karishma.
Yeah, we're all experts in the commentary box, see, Suresh.
Exactly, sir. Exactly.
I've never made a mistake on the field from up here, so.
Yeah. And like every hockey ground, there's always the corner of the turf, which has got about 7 coaches.
Yep.
And then there's the upstairs where there's about another 70 coaches. So that's how it works.
Yep. Yeah. Not to mention the 4 umpires down each sideline and that aren't wearing pink. Yeah, it's
it's a great game. That's why we keep coming back from Warren supporting it.
Absolutely.
So we love that.
So we just see well intercepted there from New Zealand Indian Women's, and that's Misha Tately, who's earned a free hit. Probably fortunate, because I think Hannah Rose Elia had eyes for the goal and the goal only after she got possession there. But the New Zealand Indian woman with the chance to outlet.
I think you'll see the Pacifica giving Lulu a bit of a break in this quarter. They're comfortably up on the scoreboard, so let her have a bit of a break, maybe refresh, because they've got a couple of big games coming up.
Yeah, certainly something I didn't notice immediately, and you're right, I don't think she's been on this for this quarter, or much of the last quarter either. And it works both ways. You give her a rest, but you also give some of these other girls an opportunity to get out and get some extra reps and play some more hockey before, like you say, a couple of big games that they will have coming up. Lulu has been awesome for the girls today.
And like you say, it's great to see that. We need to see a lot more of that. Create the pathway for these young ones, which is cool. And I think this tournament has made a start in the right direction, and hopefully we can encourage more of our, heritage players to come and be part of this event.
Yeah, absolutely. It's something I mentioned actually in the call yesterday with Regan Bain, is certainly, and especially here at Southern Districts, how much we would have loved to see the Panchea boys out here playing for the New Zealand Indian men's side. They've got a rich heritage here at Southern Districts hockey. World-class players, all three of them.
Yeah, well, it's funny you say it, because we did reach out, and I think it's just Aaron has just come off a pretty massive campaign for the last few years, and he just needs a break, and I fully understand that. It's would have been doing some massive trips away from home, etc., and just obviously when you get to a point where you need to concentrate on your work life as well, so career, because there is something apart from hockey for some people.
Yeah, absolutely.
And Daniel, I think, has unfortunately got himself an injury at the moment, so he was unable to play. And Jared was just busy away out of town, unfortunately, because for some of these high-level players, this may be the only break they get until the end of the year, so they've got some big campaigns coming up.
Yeah.
Club campaigns, and I think New Zealand do have a camp coming up as well, the Black Sticks. So
yeah, I believe Jared will be involved in the upcoming North-South fixtures that are kind of doubling as Olympic trials for the New Zealand Vantage Black Sticks. But it's awesome to have like the Panchea brothers as role models for these Indian players, and what successful international careers they've had. Especially you speak of Aaron, who has just retired from his international hockey with well over 200 caps to his name, and will go down as one of the greatest defenders, certainly of the modern era of hockey we've had for the Vantage Black Sticks. And as we see the Pacific women just break forward here, it is cleaned up well again by Misha Tately. Just finds the other end of the field. You can see Manisha Jerem there in the midfield, number 10, willing her team to get up. She wants to put another a press on here and try and win her team possession and an opportunity to go at goal. And she's not the sort of player that will just cruise to the end of a game. She'll want to score something and get her team on the board.
Exactly, and this is Manisha's home ground, so she'll be wanting to play well here. Mum and Dad are out watching, so she'll be keen as to play well, and she's leading the team, and that's what you want from your leaders. Just keep it going all the way through to the bitter end. So.
Absolutely. It's always, you find yourself often in a tough position where your team is down on the scoreboard, and, you're probably resigned to the fact that with 7 minutes left we may not
we got a bit of a break there, but
get the win. But to be able to keep leading her team and keep getting them up for that press is impressive, especially at her age. She is still very young, but to lead her team that way is awesome.
Yeah, she's got an interesting job, but she's a drug tester by her real job. So
all right,
I'm sure she's working for just a local company around this area.
Yep.
Oh, good deflection, hard luck.
Yeah, as we see another right side attack there from the New Zealand Pacifica woman, not able to be safely taken care of by the New Zealand Indian women, so they will concede a penalty corner, and we're just nearing in under 7 minutes to go in this final quarter between the New Zealand Indian women and New Zealand Pacifica women, and they will have themselves a penalty corner here.
For any defender or any goalie, there was nothing wrong with that play, because it seemed to go out of the circle nice and easy, but obviously as soon as there's a little bit of danger, understandably they blow it up, but it's always a communication you give back to the umpire. Yeah, again a little messy at the top for Paul Magoon's side, and
they'll be disappointed that they got that opportunity and were unable through execution to really put any pressure on the Indian goalkeeper there. And just a bit of a mistrap at the top as we do see Lulu Tuilatalava come back on for maybe the last few minutes of this match.
Maybe just to tidy things up a bit, I think, Brad, because they have been letting a few things go loose. The passes have gone astray, and just maybe get a bit of direction back.
Yeah, I think you're right. Just it's important that they go through to tomorrow's game with as much momentum as possible, and if it means that Lulu comes on just to steer the ship in the right direction for Paul Magoon's side.
Exactly, you're bang on there, I think.
Well, that's unfortunate one there as Manisha Jerem just wears one on the ankle. She's tough. I'm sure she'll walk that one off, but once you take your shoe off in that dugout, it's going to hurt. That's a great little bit of skill there. And that's Carissa Markia again cleaning up, but she has been dispossessed up there by Anjali Panchia, who does give the ball back to the Pacifica women's side. I think telltale signs of two teams that are fatigued. They're on the back of their second game, and double turnovers, little mistakes, missed traps and missed passes like we've just seen there.
The last 5 of the game, where I think it's maybe just feeling the pressures of like you say, just do the basics. Let's just do them well. As you see Pacifica coming out of defence, just keeping it long now, shoring it up, just getting those passes. So you see how firm and the trapping on a dime. It's great.
Yeah, we've mentioned it a couple of times, but the ball speed around the back for the Pacifica women's side has been impressive, and they do have some strong players around the back there as they move the ball around. Just means the Indian women really have to shift their defence and aren't really able to get up and trouble the defence too much because the ball is moving very well. We just see Carissa Markia reposition. She'll receive the ball back in the middle of the field and have her midfield option in front of her.
You've seen the game plan change as soon as Lulu came back on. That just helped their structure. Maybe a bit more communication through the midfield, but they just seem to hold the ball a lot nicer.
Yeah, as we see one last little push there from Devyani Soma. She has played well today, though, has been dispossessed, and the Pacifica women will come through the right channel where they have found success today. Another little double turnover, as I talked about, but they will look to open up the circle. Tonya Botherway's in the circle, and she wants the ball. Couldn't get through the last tackle there of Karishma Kumar. As we hear in the commentary box at the moment, the New Zealand Māori Tāne team getting prepared behind us for their upcoming game against the New Zealand Development Men. They'll certainly be looking to avenge a big loss they took yesterday to the New Zealand Indian men. Suresh, you will have been impressed with the both games the Indian men have played so far.
Yeah, I think they've been playing well. They've gelled well. Pretty young side as well, as you've mentioned in your commentary. But it's good to see giving these kids, these young boys or young men, an opportunity to play, and just, I think like anything, take your chances. At the end of the day, you can't worry about who's not here. Just worry about you're here, and just make the most of your opportunities. And that's what I think all the teams that are here are doing. Just go for it.
Yeah, absolutely. And as we come into the last 2 minutes of this game here between the New Zealand Pacifica women and the New Zealand Indian women, the Indian team maybe look to mount one last attack.
Well, I think, if we do mount an attack and get a goal in there, it just helps with the confidence, I think, for the young sides.
Absolutely. Both teams do have games tomorrow, and they will be important games. So both teams will want to take some momentum into tomorrow's game, be it off the back of a win or a loss here. You do want to play your last 5 minutes of hockey as well as possible to prepare for the next game. As Manisha Jerem just tries to find her way through the Pacifica women's attack defence there. Maybe a little too direct. I would have liked to see her use a bit of width there, but I understand, she just wants to get goalward, as the Pacifica women do have a counter-attack. Tonya, by the way, with the ball on the left side here.
Lulu coming through the middle.
Yeah, she's got Lulu in front of her, and that is a tidy tackle. That is a fantastic bit of defensive work, though she lost her footing through Sharmina Leatham there. Always tough to defend, when you've got somebody like Tonya with the stick skill in front of you, but she did well there. And again, that is Manisha Jerem. Just going to attempt to scoop the ball out of her area, but into some traffic. So the Pacifica women, inside the last minute of the game here, will perhaps have the opportunity to just mount one more attack. Again, a typical fatigue here is everybody's well within the circle. And touch there from Kelsey Lomas, but unable to find her third goal for the match. It's a great ball across the goal from Lulu Tuilatalava, and you see the experience and skill set she has, but just unable to put that last one away. As we're near the end of the fourth quarter here, it's been an impressive performance by the New Zealand Pacifica women's side. I mentioned at the start of the broadcast that they started slow yesterday, but they've certainly built on that game, and right from the outset here they have been impressive, and they put away their opportunities. Tonya, by the way, has been instrumental for them going forward. But no discredit at all to this New Zealand Indian women's side, who weathered a lot of a storm today, and I think players like Misha Tately, Sharmina Leatham, and Manisha Jerem, who did all do a lot of work in the defensive unit there, have a lot to be proud of, and they'll be wanting to get up against for their game tomorrow as they build towards the last set of games on Monday. Now, that is the end of our match between the New Zealand Pacifica women and New Zealand Indian women. New Zealand Pacifica women winning 4-0 with goals to Kelsey Lomas, Hannah Rose, Aliyah, and Kayla Val. I've been joined by Suresh Wallab. Suresh, it's been a pleasure. Thank you, and we will see you guys next time.
Thank you, Brad.